Okay.
Yes.
Are we starting?
We are starting and the
Are we
recording.
recording? Okay.
Yes. And
Exactly 5 o'clock.
yes, it is. Indeed.
Now we can already chat about, I think, the whole system that is coming finally after 4 years. The repository, I found it very complicated to pronounce, but
The
on the 19th,
DPP registry.
yeah, very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, this is cool. Actually, it's coming in a few days, 3 weeks, isn't it? A month?
I think you said 19th, what I
19th.
remember, your
Yes.
investigation, and that was super cool because it was a moment that I think people who were working towards this moment are waiting for a very long time. It's like, the crypto people, for example, uh, they are hoping that this is an official payment method at some moment. Now, the
Yeah.
same, of course, also happens now with DPPs. You have been working for a law, but when is it going to be reality? And that's a very cool moment that is happening now.
Yeah, some things are so, especially when it comes to compliancy and all those things, and ISO norms and blah, they look so conceptual, so in the idea, in the project, in the air, until really it comes live. And it's been for so long, so many years, that actually when it comes, it really, really comes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
also in the beginning of these compliancy laws, I really thought this sustainability law was crazy. I thought, how are they going to check it? How are they going to do it? But the DPP really brings everything nicely together, and it's really awesome. I'm very excited to tell more about it.
Yeah. I'm excited that you will tell more about it.
Yeah, well, you too.
Yeah. Tuk, tuk, tuk. I am just checking because, yes, there's always like a little bit of, you know, time. Oh, look, we are live. Okay.
Oh, do you see that also? Okay, I don't
Yeah.
know where my telephone is at the moment.
Yeah. I think we just start and we'll see people coming in. What
Yeah.
do you say? Okay. So, first of all, thank you for the people here at the live, and thank you for attending. It's our first webinar as Archive, and we are super happy to have you. We are super happy. Some people, we know them for a while. Some are new to us, or we are new to you, and it's super. It's really wonderful to bring that many people around compliance. Around compliance and benefit, like business benefits. Yes, I know it's heat wave for a lot of us, n'est-ce pas? You can hear my French accent, by the way. And I know some of us have little kids maybe to take care of. So I will be, and Sinem as well, my partner in crime, will be efficient, promise about that. Today, we want to talk about compliance. We want to talk about DPP. We want to talk about LCA, all those words that we are a little bit afraid of sometimes, or that we think it's only for textile. I assure you it's not, by the way. And we want to talk about it so that you can ask yourself the right questions, because it will touch you at some point. And it will touch you because we are in the era of trust economy. And it's not only about compliance and being compliant to Europe, and EU. It's as well about showing our hands the proof, to our customers and consumers, and so that they can trust you and, well, go on paying us. Yeah. So, with no further ado, I would like to introduce a little bit myself and Sinem. First, Sinem Tunser. She's the brains behind Arkive. She's from supply chain management. She's from data. She's a startupper from all the time until now. She's amazing, an amazing woman. I said, my partner in crime. And me, I'm Jessica Copper. I'm based in France, and I'm as well with Sinem, the co-founder, but on the commercial side. Now, let's go into what we want to discuss. Yeah, most of the time, when with Sinem we meet companies, we realize that they discover the digital product passports, because it's about that, of course, and the LCA, so the life cycle assessments, through regulation. And yeah, it's not the most fun way, let's say, to discover the DPP, because DPP is a very cool product, by the way. So some will take it as a new burden, that's for sure. But how can it be not a burden? Well, if you do not ask only like, how do I comply? How do I comply? This is a burden. This is a burden mindset for sure. Now, if you start asking, on the other hand, okay, I have to comply, but what can I do, or how can I use the data that I'm structuring right now to improve maybe operations, to improve transparency, and to improve decision making? Then if you're that kind of companies, you'll definitely get way ahead of the game, let's say. And you will be amongst those who are just further ahead. Yeah. Obviously, first we need to talk about compliance. We need to talk about DPP, LCA, but then, yeah, we'll go into how it can become a business advantage for you. Yes. So first, this bit of the definitions. DPP, I'd like to make DPP and LCA crystal clear. They are two different concepts, but they are interconnected concepts. One cannot run without the other, and vice versa. Okay? A DPP, essentially a digital product passport, is the structured digital identity of a product, any product, from the garment that you wear to the phone that you use to call your friends and your family, to anything, really anything is a product, and anything will have a DPP. And it answers questions such as, where was this product produced? Yes. Who supplied it? What are the materials that are used to make it? How did it move through the supply chain? DPP is a way to replace the static reports that you had before, the static sustainability report that you had before. Now it's just live, constantly updating with the product data, sorry. The LCA, on the other hand, is answering a different question. It's like, given all of this information that you structured in your DPP, what is the environmental impact of my product? The DPP provides the data, the LCA provides the calculation, somewhat. You can have a DPP without running an LCA, but it won't have the right calculations on environment. And also it's anyway asked, it's kind of mandatory. You cannot run a meaningful LCA without having all of the data that you have in your DPP. That's why it's interconnected, and it's the only way to make it scalable. LCA without the DPP is, again, a static report. Now, I do not want you to be lost in all of these regulations and ISO norms and everything, but you can understand why it can be very rapidly difficult to scale without the DPP, the calculations of LCAs, and to make your DPP compliant if you do not have the LCA. Okay. So I'm not going to lose you on all of the standards and the regulatory lingo. You've probably, if you're here, you've probably heard of EU's textile waste fine coming our way, or maybe how much Shein or Total Energy have been fined lately. It's not small. It's a lot. But behind the punitive side of things, I want to highlight 3 ideas. It's very simple. First, as I said just in the introduction, standards create trust. That's as easy as that. If everybody is measuring differently, comparisons will become completely meaningless. That's why we have the standards. Second idea, when we can make the structure interoperable, sorry for the French accent into that, it creates scale. If everything can work together, if your suppliers' data work with your systems, if your system work with your customer systems, then it becomes scalable, right? And the third idea is that compliance creates resilience, for sure. The regulations evolve. They evolve all the time. And the fact that you prepare from now, it makes you resilient and it makes you ahead of the curve, as I said earlier. If you have a better foundation from right now, you can adapt much faster in the future. How do I say? Anyway, it's already clear that you will have to do it. Now, the question is not really like if or when, it's how do I start, really? Okay? How do I make myself structured, machine readable product data? How do I make it so that it's readable by the EU, but it's as well understandable by the consumers? I don't know if you've heard or if you've read, there was an article not long ago from a sustainability report person in a fashion industry company who said that they started to implement the DPP, but it was not clearly readable. The data on it was not understandable by the consumer yet. And probably because this was not yet completely digested. What we offer is a way of communicating this DPP and this compliance, this data, in a way that the consumer can read it. And I can tell you that the consumers, they will pick up. They want proof. They do not want to see reports that are done by the companies on themselves. Now they want proof. They want to see what you do for the world, especially in this heat wave that we have, n'est-ce pas? Now, we were discussing about when, and you may feel that your industry maybe, or you may have felt, sorry, that your industry was not necessarily touched or not now. There is a misconception that it's only about fashion. Clearly, it's not. It's really about every product. Now, you have in 2026, those are the ones that are getting ready right now. They are a little bit in a hurry. They know that it comes. It's the iron and steel, okay? All of the appliances as well, electronics. Then in 2027, you will have textile and footwear for sure. And I mean, I will not read you everything that is written on here. If you have questions, do not hesitate to ask us at the end, for sure. No, it makes me laugh a little bit when I say that. And then maybe you will recognize your own industry in the dates that are coming up. Uh, do not forget that the earlier you get ready, and the better it is for you, because the more adaptable you can be to anything that comes afterwards. It's always more difficult to start a new work, a new, we say a chantier in French, um, late, as you know, just before deadline. That's why we start talking about it right now. In general, you need to think that preparation can take typically 12 months for some companies in some industries, even more to come into force. Okay, you have so many data suppliers and everything to collect. So earlier, better. Now, I would want to leave the talk to my colleague Sinem.
Hey, Jessica, thank you so much for this amazing introduction about what a DPP is, the compliancy rules, and which industries are first at the moment. I will start going a little bit more deep dive about how the system actually works and how LCAs actually work, so that you can make a fair decision about what works for you and which system works the best for you, and if you even need it, yes or no. So, a
Mm,
little recap about what Jessica already told. DPPs are actually a sustainability report that is not static anymore, but more in a digital environment measured on product level and batch level. That means that there are many compliancy rules relating to do it right, because it comes from the sustainability laws in the European Union, and they will also be checked based upon those laws, the governance, like Jessica explained too. Um, there are a few rules in the slide before, but I'm going to touch upon that in the LCA about how that exactly works. She also clearly told Jessica, the DPP, you need to mandatory report to the European Union how much CO2 you got on product level. And unfortunately, we cannot calculate it without LCA. So the difference also, what you will see in different systems, is that there will be a technology platform offering the DPP, but it will be without LCA. So they will ask you, give me the LCA and how you calculate it. And I will figure it out with the data you give me. It is a solution and it's a decision that you need to make. Maybe you want to build something very custom because you're super huge. That could be the right solution for you, for example, with adding the right experts on the table. But for example, are you a small business and you're reporting one time a year and you have one product, which I never saw in the real time, then one LCA consultant, 10,000 euro, could also do the trick for you at that moment. But you will have the problem with the new law if it's a forced industry, like Jessica would say, if they come and check it, that you cannot show it to the inspector at that moment. Now, that said, how does the system exactly work? Because we get this question constantly in our frequently asked questions, because people are asking us questions about my industry is different. I use different systems. How do you manage my data? It's coming from different systems. And all these questions we are going to answer about how we have built the product at the moment. Um, and some parts you can ask us with free consultation a little bit afterwards this call too. So let's start talking about the life cycle assessments, the backbone of the DPP today, because it's a traceability system that actually builds based upon the life cycle assessment. So in our development logic, what we say in those industries that are forced is, for us, you can build a house, you can build a lipstick, you can build a computer, you can even build a DPP system, Arkive. And all those things, what we say at the moment, has a life cycle and is going through particular stages. And we can sit and compete about this, or you can ask us questions in this call, and we are more than happy to answer. But um, what we believe as a supply chain expert is that we all source raw materials to build something. It can be in between components that you're producing. It can be a battery that needs to go into a car. Uh, but eventually it needs to become a car. So we say you are sourcing, you are producing, but production has multiple levels in the supply chain until the end product. Then we say you put this in a warehouse on multiple levels. Between those locations, you are going to have transport or distribution, depending on the volumes that you are selling. Then we say you're selling it somewhere. It can be your own store, the store of somebody else. We call this sales points. It can be an apotheker, it can be a hotel, or it can be a dealership. Also doesn't matter. It's a decision you make to bring your product close to the consumer in a particular country. Eventually, something is sold or not. And we can identify it too. um, when the product is sold, you have probably transaction ID in your own systems, you have RFID chips in other systems, or whatsoever. But we will identify if something has been sold because of that data, yes or no. And a product comes into the usage phase, yes or no. Did it never come into the usage phase because you cannot confirm it with a transaction ID? We say this is pre consumer waste at that moment. And this is not immediately bad. People see this word immediately when we talk about it as something negative. If you know that your stock is going to become waste and you have an expiration date, and you know that Douglas is not accepting the products 1 year in advance, isn't it smarter to know what type of materials are there, what you are saving in a different locations, to make decisions about circularity or recycling on time? I do think so. So that's the important topic that you're capable of measuring. Is it sold? The waste actually goes to the consumer cost at that moment. I bought the lipstick, or I bought this car, and at some moment I could not use it, so I'm throwing it out. Whatever I do with it, or I'm bringing it back to the car manufacturer. This is called end of life management post consumer. And today, the government is paying for this tax, and consumers are paying for the government. That said, there are smart ways to collect this data on every level and to know how it's jumping from one side to another. We call this a chain of custody. The other topic, what we are very good at, is we come from location data, Jessica and me. What we identify in this whole supply chain logic and this life cycle assessment is, when you think about it, all these things: sourcing, producing, I don't care on which level. I don't know how you do it or how you do it. To be fair, also, and I don't want to be rude, I don't care what you do in your factory. Yeah. These are energies that you make on location level, what we call. So all these topics are locations, and they are actually moving from A to B, and the CO2 costs are coming from this, from your locations, and that you're moving it from A to B. And there can be many cases. Maybe you made a PR batch, a small batch. So that's a small batch that you produced on testing. You wanted to send it to influencers. It's a different flow, but still it goes to the same flow. So we validated this case with 231 categories, and we did 50 plus life cycle assessments across these categories in a laboratorium. We also checked all the end of life management. If something is becoming post or pre consumer, can I really do something with this? Can I make it circular to populate it back into the DPP? And we all did that investigation. And what we confirm with this model is that we can guarantee for every industry that we can do it with very limited data, and we will populate the data extra, everything that you cannot collect at the moment. Um, that's a short explanation about life cycle assessments. I know it must be triggering so many questions with you at the moment, your system and ours. feel free to have contact with us afterwards. And we are more than excited to do with sample data a simulation, for example, for you and your business. Okay, let's go to the next slide, maybe, Jessica, if you don't mind. A lot of people will also actually say at the moment, what is the added value for me? I had people that were critical, and I really love them because they help me also to think about explaining why a DPP system is going to help them. And what we learn is it's helpful for multiple different opportunities at the moment. And I'm going to talk all about them because you're going to make a better decision as a business. Let's start from the European Union because it's their decision and it's not our decision at the moment. But until today, since 1986, I know it, we are recycling in the Netherlands. My mother is Turkish, and she is pushing Turkish people since that time to recycle because she always says it's better for your and for the world at the moment if we recycle, because then the waste can be new products and it's better for the world at the moment what we are doing. But nobody understood it in 1986, right? And we are still in this intersection of, is sustainability for tree huggers or is it also financially great? Yeah, sorry to make that joke, but I think it's important to mention the government had the same feeling. So until today, we were registering our financial reports. If you're a business, we were doing all that things that the European Union said, okay, we know how this business is going. We know how this person is going. We are going to give them passports. And we are going to find them with taxes or show them the rules of our country at the moment. Actually, the DPP is something like that. That's how you need to consider it. Because the European Union is like, hey, we've been working on sustainability since I don't know which time. But the reality is that all these reports are um, identical and very positive. But when we look at the European Union, the numbers, the waste has been growing and the waste per person has been growing, namely too. And the question is not, hey, is this sustainable? The question is who's paying for this at the moment? Shall we charge it back to the consumers constantly? Or is it also fair, for example, the case that I told about pre consumer waste, that the waste costs are going back to the company? And shall we not, instead of tariffs, kind of like reward companies to produce, for example, in Europe, instead of constantly producing maybe in Turkey or in another country, for example? So they are creating a new way about sustainability, a way where they can compare different companies and different segments with each other and say, oh, this company or this segment is doing great, or this company and this is doing great. But did you make your money in Turkey? Did you produce it over there? And you sold your via marketplace, Amazon, directly to my consumer in the Netherlands, then you are obliged to pay for those packaging costs you are creating in the Netherlands, because the store that is in the Netherlands that is selling the same product is paying taxes, is paying waste taxes. So not only the consumer becomes accountable because of this. So they are creating a fair competition place per country, and also a trackable system where they know that things are comparable and fair, kind of like in reporting ways. Then, when we look at consumers, for consumers, this is great. They have been telling that their favorite brands were sometimes buying organic, and these favorite brands, they really thought they were buying organic, but this Turkish supplier lied to them. So now they suddenly got a reputational issue because the consumer highlighted that this was a lie, a greenwashing topic. So for the consumer, it's great that they have this DPP. They go to the QR code on the product and they say, let me compare this stuff. Oh, they made a claim about organic and a document is uploaded. Oh, this feels safe. I trust this brand. I'm going to buy it and I'm going to pay 100 euros instead of 20 euro at H&M because it's a fair topic at the moment that I'm buying for. So for consumers, this is going to be a marketing and communications channel where actually sustainability topics are going to be, yeah, validated in their brains for them when they are in the store. Transparency, what we call easily. When we look at brands, and I can imagine if there are brands listening at the moment, you are going to be annoyed because there's a new law coming. A lot of rules already. First, you were dealing with the sustainability laws and the reports. It was costing you 300,000 euro per year because you were hiring a sustainability manager. That sustainability manager needed budget, LCA consultant. Then they needed collection layer. Then they needed this. So together on a yearly basis, this is costing a lot of money to report to the government. And still, they are not excited about it. And they are coming now with this DPP too. Um, so I already touched a little bit on the topic. It's important to realize a few topics in this. It's not that the government is a bad cop at the moment, but this report is going to help you, this automated report, to eliminate those costs of your sustainability manager. The sustainability manager today, the CEO, maybe become annoyed with the money they spent on charities and all the initiatives, great ones that they did. And they highlighted that they've improved their reputation, or yeah, I don't know. They highlighted a few things, but you did not see your CO2 go down the year later with these initiatives. The DPP is going to help you with the sustainability manager to make data driven decisions, because every action that they do at this moment, the DPP system is going to be updated. The other topic, what is going to help you, that topic, what the consumer is saying. This was not cotton. I know that most brands really have good intentions. I know that they really want to do it right. But when we are managing 2,000 SKUs across the world and across the supply chain, how can we keep track of all this? And what if one of the supplier told us something and they cannot validate it? We are here to help you with those things. So in the future, you can be excited about the products and the marketing commitments you're making externally. So this is all the benefit that we have for the DPPs for the different types of business. Um, yeah, and I don't have to tell you more than that. It's financially lucrative. It will help you with automation of the supply chain. It will help you with data-driven decision making, and etc. And I think I already explained a lot here. This actually brings all those complicated and amazing words all together.
Mhm.
But within Archive, actually, what we say is, hey, the DPP system is coming. Sustainability manager, can you go and fix this problem? I'm going to tell you that your sustainability manager is going to be nervous because are all compliancy rules included when the inspector is going to come? Yeah, you need a system for that in 2,000 different SKUs. You want to have scalability. You're in trend. You have never out of stock items, etc. You want to automate that sustainability report not to one, but you need to look at it holistically. So you want to see everything. The other topic is the supply chain, the traceability. Can we go one back, Jessica? Sorry, I really need to close that topic. Today, you're making cost also in the gray market environments. For example, I sold it to a sales point. A European distributor is doing it for me, but somehow my products are getting for cheaper on Amazon the whole time. And I am paying for marketing because I expect a particular revenue is going to come in. All this stuff is going to be eliminated because of the DPP, because we know where your products are going to be at, and the QR code is being scanned, and we detect the locations. We are more than excited to tell you more about alerts, anomaly detection, EBITDA improvements, supplier performance, compliancy monitoring, etc. during um, a personal demo or a free consultation in the first one.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Um, I don't think I have to explain here. Maybe I will give quickly the word to Jessica because she has done the bigger investigation about this part. So I will only add the topics that I think I missed.
Yeah. Well, this is just a landscape for you to be able to understand with what we've discussed earlier and what exists in the territory where your company could seek for help. Obviously, if you're looking for automation, maybe LCA consultant. Let's go in another way. LCA consultants, for example, are probably the ones with the most completeness in terms of compliance. They take the time, they look at everything, their expertise is very high. They do manual assessments. Manual assessments comes with the double face of the coin. It's highly, highly compliant. It's highly, highly not automatable, not scalable. And you can imagine as well the cost that comes with it, because it's work. It's really work. Those are the people that we use for static reports most of the time. Yeah. And those are the people as well that power a lot of consultancy cabinets, consultancy firms. Yeah. Then you have the, let's say, identification and data standards. Um, so some of them, you probably know them in EU. They are kind of foundational for the interoperability. They say which data you're supposed to look for, which systems you're supposed to work with, but they do not create the DPP, and they do not calculate the LCA on their own. They just tell you where to look at. Then you have to add other layers for it to work, right? And with their partnerships, different partnerships, they can tell you to go here or there, but you take the decisions at the end of the day. That's why it's here. Then, in terms of automated solutions, you have the technology platforms. They help with automating data flows. They help with putting systems together, structuring systems together, but they cannot do DPP. They do not have LCA logic. By the way, we work with a few of them already. So they actually do the collecting data layer, for example, or some data layer, for example, and then they input into our system so that we can do the DPP and the LCA for them. Then on top of that, you will have a little more compliant in terms of DPP and LCA, obviously, the DPP focused solutions. I want to go back in terms of DPP. However, a lot of them on the market are able to produce, to generate the DPP with varying level of automation, obviously, but some of them only can do the LCA calculation, because the LCA calculation is a real topic that, for example, has taken us a lot of years in laboratory. All of the companies did not do this work. And then, yeah, obviously, it's Arkive webinar. So we put ourselves, but you see, it's not in green, it's in beautiful blue. We are automating the DPP. You can generate through us. We collect the data. We calculate the LCA, and we digest all of it to generate the DPP, and even some other things that some of our clients ask to customize. I think it's about it, actually. If you want high compliance, if you have time, if you want someone you can work with on a few months project, maybe you will go through the LCA consultant. If you just need the layer of generating the QR code, maybe you will go with the DPP focused solutions. But if you need something complete, scalable, and that can automate the DPP and the LCA, then probably we are one of the strongest right now on the market.
Yeah, that's I cannot say more than that. We are off the shelf. LCA can do it in small batches, LCA consultants, but it could be that you want to build it internally because you're an enterprise, then you need these guys, of course, to advise. As Jess said, we already work with most of them, and we also help technology platforms where they use us as a DPP
Mm.
solution, actually, in their own technology stack. Awesome. Okay. This is our favorite image, and we need to say
Yes.
it one more time. Jessica and I love this image, and we are very much aware it's very AI, but it really shows our data flow, and it really does what it should do at the moment. And it's important to understand that our off-the-shelf module starts from API integration, A lot of people are interested in the data quality management part because there are data protocols for the DPP. How we have implemented it, obviously, we cannot tell all of our secrets, but we comply to the ISO norms at the moment. But this is high level how our data pipelines are working at the moment. And the LCA modeling is a little bit also our hidden gem and our amazing thing that we have built, which took us for 4 years. The compliance seed layer, we can all find it online and implement it as we want it. That
Mm.
said, API integration. We are one of the companies worldwide with a clear API that asks a set of data where after you deliver this data, after you map this data, the rest is automatic. It's really important to say. That means you can go now to the website and start using it. What we do know most of the times is that people say, "Hey, I work in a subsystem, and this subsystem is been decorated to my company." To my processes. And I find it complicated to randomly do the mapping because we are sustainability managers and we're not that technical. And we say, don't worry, we got you. And even if you have a Google Sheet or whatever, we will start doing the collection layer for you guys. We will do the mapping for you guys. We will also kind of like sit and do data workshops with you to understand your systems first better. And we don't do AI mapping like other companies are doing it and then it's wrong. No, we sit with a data scientist, understand the data, and then we map it. So once we all know this data and we have helped you, or you don't need our help to keep the cost low, it's up to you guys. You connect with that API. We are super good at data collections because we are real crawlers and we are connected to multiple databases at the moment. So, with or without your knowledge, we actually know from your product data what your LCA approximately is going to be. So, the API is integrated. Then, what we notice during those data workshops, for example, is a lot. We all know garbage in, garbage out, the popular terminology. We don't want to be blockers on your DPP creation. Like, we need to be fair, but there are clear mandatory attributes that we need to deliver when the inspector is coming. But we have some time, right, to fix everything. So we need to keep that in our minds too. So once you have delivered us the data and everything, we can be very annoying and say, hey, 40% of your data is incorrect. But we don't do it like that. What we say is we look at what is really important for the output. We say, okay, let's implement these alerts. Again, positive alerts like I don't have the fuel types and the transport modes yet. Don't worry. We implement the alerts because it's not going to be mission critical in phase one to do the calculation. But we will advise you along the way to enrich the data and to improve it. For example, kilogram milliliter weight dimensions. You by accident someone typed in kilogram instead of milliliter. Huge impact on your CO2 calculation. So we will implement alerts where not only your own data will be better because of it and your processes will be better, but we will be in control about the output of the DPP because of it. So data quality layer, that's what it is. Once you go through the data quality layer, that information is fully corrected, it can start creating the calculation like we know how the data is delivered. So you have actually the CO2 calculation as first. On top of it, the LCA layer starts because it says, hey, is the data delivered on sourcing level? Hey, is this done because of the ISO norm and the claims are complete? And like that, all the ISO norms are being validated and it creates DPPs with a compliancy status, allowing you to be very actionable, manage the DPPs in a way that the sustainability manager can check, oh, this is what I'm missing. Oh, we made a claim across 231 products at the moment. We need to fix that as soon as possible. Oh, our data is behind. Hey, does the logistic manager also know about this issue at the moment? So your work process in the sustainability environment because of this are going to hugely benefit your own organization and it's going to make it very easy this sustainability management at some moment. So yeah, our goal is to make life easier for you actually with the system. And keep in mind after the API you don't do anything anymore. It's a constant system. So if you add a new product to your system and the product is an active product that is going to the market, poof, it starts calculating the DPP and you attribute it along the journey. So enrich the data. Okay, so we are going to an actual demo because I guess that's when the exciting stuff is happening. Um,
Yes.
I promised Jessica that I will open this website, but I by accident clicked it away, of course. Welcome to Sheenem's Live. Okay, complete screen. Dela. Do you guys see our website at the moment? Let me start there.
Up.
Yeah, Jess, can you see it? Okay, cool. So now
Yeah.
this is first of all our website, very important. You can go and read everything about our information. We have here integration guides, ISO norms that are explained. We see that people are clicking on industries. We can be better too. We need to expand that at the moment. You can learn about our pricing, how the solution is working. But if you're technical, you can go and check our API documentation too. So it's all explained over here. Um, yeah, when I click start, the first 5 DPPs is for free. So that gives an opportunity to everybody in the world to go and test it. And if this is working for you, if you cannot deliver the data incomplete and your developer is complaining about it, get in touch with us, please. We are here to help. We are not here to look at you struggle around this environment. Rescued at archive.nl. I'm going to log in into this account, which we prepared for you with Jess. We are logging in. It's also cool. All the new releases have been done on this platform at the moment. So we are logging into the dashboard at the moment. This dashboard is first showing that the API connections or the FTP locations or the intake logic that you and I agreed with each other is visualized over here. That always shows that 1 year later, if you log in to check your CO2 because the inspector is coming, that if you had successful or unsuccessful failures in your data set. So we know that the data is not behind, for example, in control. Uh, Verification status. Well, this is one product and 3 DPPs at the moment where one is active. It's a verified one, um, but it shows your verification status, for example. The CO2 is beautifully shown. It actually shows that the system is working. Um, so the products, you are not touching it because it shows the data that you have in your own system here. It's just a proof that your central truth will stay the truth. Then it's how many products you created, total CO2 across those DPPs. And of course, we want to make things actionable. You will have different roles in your supply chain. People who are sourcing, people who are working on the production, people who are working in warehouses. And if your ambition is to bring CO2 down, you want to know where the CO2 is coming from. In this case, for example, we see manufacturing or sales, right? Now let's look at it. So you can start filtering, you can start exporting from which production locations this is coming from. Um, yeah, from which production activities it's coming from, for example. Then you can filter per country because we are running through particular countries this product. So maybe in Italy they are producing more CO2 than in France. And we can of course not change the governments because of the grid, but what we can do is that your country manager or your brand ambassador from France is making decisions about locations that are triggering this. So you can do something about it. Or maybe in some countries you don't care because they don't care about CO2 and some don't. I don't want to be that person because I care about CO2, but I know how decision making is going in companies. This will allow you to start checking sales points. It can be that um, Douglas is making more CO2 than Sephora. I'm now saying something that is a completely lie because I don't know about it before anybody gets angry. But this will allow you to actually look per channel where the CO2 is coming from, allowing you to go and sit with these people because this is not owned CO2, it's a partner CO2 that is created, but you made the decision to work with them. Categories. In this case, it's only skincare, but I can imagine that um, you want to check between footwear and textile, or you want to check between whatsoever. So these filters are we can go very much further. Don't worry about it. You will check it per period. I can imagine you're doing it per period. We do a lot of customization. You can look for DPPs over here. that will allow you which DPP is creating more CO2 than the other one. So this is an automatic populated data page, right? Because we read in your ERP or your Shopify or wherever you put your product data, we read this in and we are not changing the truth. This is your truth at the moment. So it's been created, it has a status, it's archived or it's on the market. We don't know at the moment yet. It has a UP. A UP is going to be the new barcode IDs, European Union, Universal Product IDs. Keep this in mind. Yeah, so I'm not going to touch upon that much. So we already anticipated on the future, but you can also add your GTIN or whatever code you are using at the moment for that as a recognition. And some companies also want to see SKUs because one they use it as an internal identification and the other one as a global identification that they use with suppliers. Product name, category, this is all. Don't have to explain it. This is just showing it. This is showing it on the total of the batches. It can also see it on batch level. A batch is identified as if we have one SKU, I produce 12 times. That means um, that you need 12 DPPs, for example, because you're producing it with all different life cycles at that moment. Batches, one is mock data, so we put that in active. Materials, these are all the materials. So actually you start seeing the carbon that is created, suppliers, the product is the material actually connected to let's say product or the packaging because that will help with pre or post consumer topics. And also you need to keep in mind that your end of life actually makes money and today we are destroying a lot of things. If you can pile up a lot of materials at some moment, you can sell it at some moment to other companies too. So it's important. Yeah, it's an important factor to know. Now we talked about that. That's where the supply chain starts. uh, our developer had this as a little innovation. He wanted to add images across the products. Was not our idea with Jessica, but I think it makes sense for operational reasons that you know about which product quickly we are talking about. So we added now in the API slowly too, so you can add images with the products. But this is your DPP page. It kind of like shows the life cycle when the product is going to die based upon the expiration date in this case with components. And in your, are you in construction, expiration date becomes a replacement date. Yeah, this is very important for the quality of the maintenance of buildings or cars. So it will be the same logic, but then we will call it replacements. Now, what do you want to know? You want to see the DPP at the moment now. This is a standard design, but we customize it for our brands. Some also want to have it white labeled, so we'll touch upon that in a little bit. We are very proud about, of course, about the life cycle assessment that is at the moment automated. So when you look at this at the moment, um, very cute. We have updated now everything. So this is a life cycle of this product. We are thinking about how to visualize this a little bit nicer. But now we see that we are sourcing water in the Netherlands in this case, because water has been added later in the supply chain. Um, then what is happening is with the icons, let me go a little bit. Each icon is connected to a dot. You can see it. And all the warehouses and the sales points are within the locations, as you can see it, sales points. And we are distributing it from one place to another, one place to another. And in these places between the locations, there's of course transport and CO2. So the map is giving you a quick glance about this. And if you think, oh, this is not right, why is this happening at the moment? And you're a supply chain manager, this will give you a quick overview about it. Let me zoom out again, the whole world. This is very cool. We call this gray market detection. So imagine you have products and you're distributing them to the Netherlands. And in this batch, number 1, 2, 3, and the sales points are Douglas, Sephora, Albertine, or Carrefour, let's say a French one at the moment. Those locations have an address that we collect during the data intake at that moment. So what does that mean? That the moment when the QR codes start being scanned because the products are in the stores or sold online, we start having addresses at that moment coming from that location. Is this not in the address list that we think? We know that this is slowly gray markets at that moment, and we know gray market detection. For example, in this case, Paris, it's tagged from this QR code. Very cute. Actual data, by the way. This was tagged from Paris, but we were only selling at that moment in the Netherlands. So this was strange that this was started being tagged there. That means that somebody could not sell it in the Netherlands. It went via the trader to Paris, and in Paris they started selling it in outlet logics maybe at that moment. So how does that then exactly work? Well, the life cycle calculations, I think I explained it already. This is a summary of a life cycle. You need to see it as a human, right? When I go from the Netherlands to Turkey in my passport, I get the stamp that I'm at that moment over there. In this case, it's sometimes a little bit more complicated because sourcing is one or many, production is one or many. Imagine I do everything in one material. I just need one material to create something, let's say steel at that moment. So I'm sourcing the irons from Australia in a mine. This is my sourcing locations. Then I'm getting that. I'm producing it in one factory at the moment. I'm just making it ready for my customers. Then I'm bringing it to the warehouse where I pile this up, one warehouse, and etc. But the reality is always different, right? This is existing of 38 ingredients of 38 materials before I can make that end product. Then I'm producing on multiple levels, and I am buying glycerine and a few other ingredients from a particular location, but maybe they are buying it from somebody else again. This is called tiers, for example. But it can also be that I'm producing multiple things at the same time. For example, in beauty and food, you have in between ingredients, right? I make three ingredients. I made that gelatin, and from this gelatin, I make it on top of the pie. In electronics, we make, for example, in between components like a accu or whatsoever before we make the car eventually or the end product eventually.
Sinem,
Yeah.
Sinem, Sinem, I love you for that. But I think we are coming into the hour. And
Okay.
I think the people can see how excited we are and how passionate we are about DPP, LCA, all those words, compliance. And because it's not only compliance, it's really product, it's really consumer, it's really trust, it's really how do I make a better product, a better world somehow. I know maybe I'm going a little bit too far with that, but how do I make it that I am not contributing more into the heat wave that we are in right now? How do I make it that I do that without hurting my sales? On the contrary, how do I make it thanks to DPP, thanks to LCA calculations, thanks to beautiful products and solutions that I just make more money more sustainably.
Yeah. So, how do we make more money sustainably? If we track a product from the sourcing level to the end of life management, and we are trying to plan the next year, the products, for example, because last year maybe we created by accident 20% of waste, which was not our ideal scenario. But every year we also are hoping that we're forecasting right. So the whole DPP system is helping you with traceability. So you can do a better forecasting and a better management of your inventory, for example, and also to keep the revenue within the supply chain. Here, what I went maybe too much into details about gray market. This is a huge problem, not only in food, not only in cars, but things get excited when they are bestsellers. So suddenly they pop up on different places. But if they pop up on different places and I never know if something is sold or not, one, I'm losing revenue. Two, I cannot forecast. So this is very important to improve your business, Jessica, and your EBITDA at the moment, and why you should measure this. And this QR code is actually helping you more with. Um, Yeah, somebody is scanning your product. Today, they heard some negative stories in the news about um, yeah, I don't know, that the favorite brands were doing bad actions. The DPP is proving the against if you communicate it properly because it shows the CO2, you are being fair to them, you are validating all the statements. So that news, it's not the truth suddenly anymore. This is going to be their truth. So that is going to help you with customer trust and transparency around that environment, if I explained it well.
Yeah, that's great.
So that's, I think, not the demo. All the alerts I actually, in my long storytelling, I told. So we will implement data quality alerts, gray market alerts. So you can kind of like constantly track your products and be faster than everybody else and be in control. And then you definitely want to be audit ready, super important. So when the moment is coming and you know your compliancy statuses on DPP level, this one is great. Eh? Done the job super great. We
Mm,
also made it a little bit, of course, like that. Um, is that you need to start inviting people. We talked about European distributors. Make them your colleagues or your administrators so they can be part of that supply chain. Don't they want to give data because they are afraid you will go to their sales points? We scan the QR codes. We will find out where the sales points are anyway. The administrator can connect it both to the same API. So this is only for your legit partners. Your colleague could be a designer. The inspector is to be always audit ready. So you give them access and they are going to check all those compliancy rules that are implemented, for example. And they can leave notes. So when they come back the next year, they're going to say, hey, Brent, did you fix it? And then you can say, I already fixed it, for example, if they left you a note. And that will help you to not get be fined as well at that moment. I
mm.
think then I explained it all, Jess.
Yes,
I
yes.
don't have to make it longer. Sorry, I got a little bit passionate about LCA, but
Yeah.
that's it at the moment.
Yeah, we love LCA, and that's normal that we are passionate about it. As we discussed, please, so the session is going to an end right now. I think all questions have been answered. Thank you for your attendance, the people who could make it. And it is recorded, so we will send it as well to the people who could not make it because we know, I mean, 1 month ago when we started it, we couldn't foresee that it would be such a crazy climate. And we know that some people could not attend because of that, but we are happy to share. Yes, it was addressed to sustainability and compliance managers and ops managers. If you know some people, if you know companies that would need our help, please share. Sharing is caring, as we say. And now I'm saying, book a demo, obviously, with Sunem or with myself, and see you soon. See you soon.